Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from. You are welcome on Mamlakak Broadcast Network TV, affectionately called MBNK News, a platform designed to contrast the worldly fact with the kingdom through the original. I am Ambassador Renne Johnson, your host for this interview today with distinguished Ambassador Renne Johnson, Myler, all the way from the place where God lives in the Bahamas. We are going to be discussing today about an interesting topic, but I first want her to join me into the studio as I'm going to be introducing her to you. Please, can you come into the studio? Wow.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome.
Hello.
Wow, that's an honor to see you right here in the studio of Mamlakak Broadcast Network to have you.
I'm physically
Welcome,
here.
very
I'm
welcome.
physically here at last.
At last.
At last.
I'm physically here at last. Welcome very much, Ambassador Renne Johnson. How was your trip here?
It was uneventful, so I'm happy for that. It was a smooth trip. I had a little rest on it. I was able to get into my notes and prepare myself for this session.
Oh,
You can never be too prepared, right? So I was preparing myself, and so I'm really happy to be here. It's been a while.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation and also for coming. And so today we are going to be discussing on this interesting topic, the advantage of mentorship.
Yes.
Well, prior for me to have her discuss about that topic, allow me to introduce her for those of you who have not knew, who do not know her. Who is Ambassador Renne Johnson Myler, you may ask. So yes, I'm glad you asked that question. So Dr. Renne Johnson Myler is a kingdom citizen, a Bahamian, as you heard me say. She's from the beautiful island of the Bahamas, a place where God lives. And she has practiced cosmetology for 45 years. A versatile businesswoman. She is a proud mentee of the late Dr. Miles Monroe, a member and trustee of the International Third World Leader Association at Tuala. Dr. Johnson Myler is a mother of two beautiful young ladies,
Yes.
and a grandmother. And a grandmother of two. She is a mentor to many, so which actually fit well for the topic,
Yes.
because I really want you to share a lot about that one.
Yes.
So her motto, if I can help someone along the way, then my living would not be in vain. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ambassador Renne Johnson Myler into our local studio right here in Dallas, Texas.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's so...
Thank you. Yeah, no need to stand. It's okay. No need to stand up. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you are
And
so very much.
when you and I spoke, that's so important to me. Mentorship is the key to being able to have, maneuver and go through, because there are times when you get to, but you need to know how to go through. So for me, I always, to date, even being in my late 20s, very late 20s.
Very late 20s. When the lady is after 40, she's always on the 40s.
Yes.
So right, please.
My late 20s, okay? We'll just put it that way. I believe in mentorship, and I believe in passing it on. I believe in mentoring, but I also believe that in order to mentor, somebody has to want to be led.
Exactly.
And so you might say, what is mentoring? You guys are talking about mentorship. And I was telling her, Dr. Monroe had such good play on words. So I'm gonna try to use some of those attributes that I would have and was imparted and planted in me when he mentored me. And so for me, mentorship is trusting to be guided. Trusting to be guided by a qualified individual. Again, I'll use the word qualified again, who is qualified to lead. So that's trusting to be mentored by a qualified individual who's qualified to lead. So in other words, you don't have to go to an Ivy League college. You don't have to be someone who literally finished high school, and all you have to do is be your character, where you are, some of the things you have to go through, the journey that you're on, the path that you took. And guess what? Success isn't, to me, success would be the fact that I was able to eat a full meal. That may be successful to me. So success, people always think success is having the big mansion on a hill, and that's in the movies. Success is where you are. We have to meet people where they are. And then we try to mentor them to where they would like to go. You understand? So when I say finding a qualified person, I'm talking about someone who has a history, someone who has been exposed, somebody who has had to go through challenges, and they persevered in spite and instead, and because they stuck through the process. So mentoring means that, to me, it's about taking some of me and my experiences and helping you with you to get where you want to go. So it's through me, through my eyes, but through your eyes. I can't see what you want. And Pastor Miles always told us, it's like seeing your future in picture. It's like you can't touch it, but I see the bookshelf over there. I want to get a bookshelf. How do I get a book off the shelf? Am I going to say abracadabra, bim golly gaju, and it comes to me? No. I'm going to have to make steps. I'm going to have to position myself. I'm going to have to seek out the book I want, and then I'm going to have to get it. And then when I get it, what I do? I need to read it. I need to know what's in the book. I don't want you to tell me what's in the book. I need to know what's in the book. And that's what mentorship is. Mentorship is me helping you to navigate, but also you helping yourself. So for the most part, a lot of people, they want to be mentored, but they don't want to do the work. They want to be mentored.
And it doesn't work.
It don't work like that. They want something so badly, and they really can taste it, and they can have it. And it's not prejudice, Being successful isn't prejudice. Pastor Miles always said to us, success is predictable. So is failure.
Exactly.
Success is predictable. What do you mean success is predictable? Okay. Again, I'll use the bookshelf that's in the front of me. I want a book off that shelf. In order for me to get a book off that shelf, I have to literally physically get up now. I can tell somebody else to get it. I can say, Veronique, get me that book. And Veronique doesn't know what book I want, because actually where I'm sitting, I cannot see the titles. So you know what's going to happen? She's going to have to say, do you want this one? She's going to have to call off the names of those books. Where I can go myself. I can physically go myself and look and get the book. So it's just ask, seek. No, that's what mentorship is. It's not me coming to you and say, girl, do you want me to mentor you? I can be your mentor, I can mentor you. And
no volunteer.
I can tell you that, but if that's not what you really want, but you can go along with me for the ride. But if you didn't buy into me saying, or me being an example, that's another thing. I have to be that example. I have to be what I want you to see. If I want to guide you, I have to be that individual who has cleaned my own doorstep first. I have to confess when I mess up. I have to correct the things that I messed up with, and then I have to then become. So a mentor should have become and went through some things, go through the process, and then I in turn can be of value to you.
And you just mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that you could not volunteer to go mentor someone, and it just hit me like this is what God does with us.
Yes.
He creates everything.
Yes.
He has a good plan for
Yes.
us. He said, I know the plan that I have for
for
you,
you.
a plan not to harm you, but to prosper you and to bring you a good future.
Uh-huh.
But it's up to us to know the plan.
Seek.
It's up to us to go ask and seek what type of plan God has. It's up to us. God has prepared everything for us, but He will not volunteer that information to us if we do not seek. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's there.
And it was just a picture. As you were talking, that's the picture I received. I received more in pictures. So
yeah. Because again, if I have this glass of water and I want to drink a glass of water, I had to get a bottle or get it out of the refrigerator, pour it in the glass, or drink it from the bottle. And then I start to quench my thirst. You get it? So if you don't start to quench your thirst, not the physical thirst, not this liquid water, but if you want something and then you don't get the book off the shelf, number one, to open it up, to read it, then I can tell you everything you want to hear. And that's what happens. We go to church, we don't read the word, and so the pastor said, and the pastor said, and the pastor said, and then you see this one caught doing this, and then you're shot at, you're like taking off. But no, seek ye first, you seek ye first the kingdom and His righteousness. He didn't say seek the pastor, right? The pastor could have some information for you that can help you. That the pastor could, because of his vast, experiences and where he have to interact with the different the different elements within the church. You got a deacon board. The pastor got to know about the deacon board. You got the usher board. The pastor needs to know a little bit about the usher board. You got all these intricate parts that literally come together, and then you have the head. It's like the Pope passed the other day, right? So the Pope was over all of these heads of church, and so the Pope always spoke on behalf of the church, right? The Pope always said what he believed the church, the direction the church should be going in. That's how you should be with your life. Take control of your life. Take control of your thoughts, your actions, your individuality. You have to now say, how do I get this information? Okay, Renee said something just now. Veronique said something just now. Okay, so how do I get this information? But if you don't seek after it, only what we say here is what you will leave with. So mentorship means that you must align yourself under the guidance or the tutorship of somebody who has information, who's a resource center, someone who's willing and able to assist you, not to babysit you, not to wait for you to call them and I tried, and then they give you the solution, and then you want them to come and do the work. You have to do the work. And so in saying that, I had many mentors in my life, and I still have mentors up to the date. And I was sharing with Veronique earlier, at my pastor, the first church I went to, he showed me by example. He was very humble, very humble. He came in my salon. He would sweep, him and his wife would sweep, they would mop, they would clean up for me. They showed me what humility was. They didn't use their title as pastor because he was a bishop. And like some churches, you have to make an appointment to see the pastor. I'm not saying that's wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I had access to him. I had access to his home. I had access to his children. He gave me access as a bishop, as a pastor. And I saw how he had his children come up through the ranks. And he mentored me and he respected me. See, a lot of times we think respect go one way. It's a two-way street. And you cannot demand respect. You have to earn it. And so me sitting here and talking about mentorship, I have to have experienced it. I've had to really understand the value of it. And so when we were talking and considering a topic, to me, mentorship is so key, because I'm finding that in today's world, Veronique, there are a lot of lost souls and a lot of people who may be a little more religious than interconnected spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going through the process, or they're going through the walk, or the movement of what it is to be in a position. So they have these titles, and then they have this thing where, because of the title, they feel that they're entitled. And so people look up to them because of their title or positioning. And then when they get closer, people walk away or shun away, because, again, we were discussing, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
And that's what mentoring is about. Showing me you care. Show me you value me. Show me. They say, show me the money. Show me love. Don't show me the money. Because you can show me the money, and if I don't feel loved, I don't want the money. So mentoring, again, is you don't have to go to college to be a mentor. It's about your lifestyle. It's about your life choices. How am I going to mentor you when you see me last week in the bar falling down drunk? I could be in the bar, but if I'm not falling down drunk and I'm standing in the bar, I'm sitting, Jesus, I keep telling people, stop getting mixed up. He went among the sinners. Okay, he went among the sinners. So in going among the sinners, mentorship starts there, because they're not looking at me. My husband owns a restaurant and a bar. I'm there. And when they come, they try to offer me a drink. Man, thanks, man. Can I have a bottle of water? Maybe a tonic water on the rocks. I make jokes of it. Because I don't want to seem as if I'm beyond this. And I feel that a lot of times we get caught in things, we get judgmental. What's she doing in that bar? That's not your business. Me and God have a relationship. And that's what a mentorship is about, a relationship.
And I do believe, if I may just, believers are very judgmental, because they took the word of Christ into the religious fashion.
Yes.
To the point that the word become void. When you understand that God is a God of all creation, meaning the animal kingdom, or you can name it the sinner, the non-sinner, the atheist, the non-atheist, the Buddhist, or Muslim, whoever, there is only one creator.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves everyone equally. And you have to go to them, like the Samaritan woman.
How can I convince you, if you're a Muslim and I'm a Christian, and every time I see you, I walk away or turn my back? But I'm supposed to be one showing love. I'm not the one who's saying, kill, shoot, destroy. I'm supposed to be showing love. And that's how we get people to be attracted. Yeah. That's the attraction. When I'm in the world, but I'm not of the world. No, again, not perfect. In the world, but not of the world. So there's this need, or this belief that I cannot associate because I do this. I cannot. And so in that way, you are causing others who want to be drawn to what you are doing and where you are. They don't want to be bothered. Because if that's what they say Christianity is, or spirituality, or religion, I don't want it. And you hear it all the time.
And Dr. Morrow actually mentored a lot of Muslims and a lot of people, Buddhists who changed.
Atheists changed. It's lifestyle. It's about a lifestyle. And she noticed my motto, for a lifetime. A lifestyle for a lifetime. We cannot decide. Now, listen, the Bible said, be angry and sin not. He did not say you won't ever get angry. And he never said you'll never sin. He said, because all have sinned and come short. However, you don't stay there. Be the first to say sorry. Be the first to apologize. Be the first to show remorse in a situation. But then also, people were killed. People were stripped of their positions. These things still exist. Back in the day, you got punished severely when you didn't do what you're supposed to do. We better thank God for the revelation when it comes down to the new testament. We need to thank God for when God sent his son Jesus to die for us. Because if he didn't, you'd have been still slaughtering the lamb. You'd have been still trying to take your child and carry it in the bush and hope a ram show up in the thicket. You'd have been still trying to figure out, Lord, I get no water in this cupboard today. How will I drink water? But he gave us dominion now. He said, okay. First he said, I give you dominion. You have power over these things, but not over people. So mentorship means that I'm not empowered over you, but I'm helping to empower you. And that's what mentorship is. Helping you and helping me to say, okay, I have found myself in a quagmire. I'm distraught. I've not been here. I need someone to help me through this little situation that I'm in. And again, like I was saying, you gotta seek, ask, seek, and knock. And sometimes you have to say, God, send somebody. Send somebody. I've had people call me, don't know me, pick up the phone and call me. Say, I just asked God to help me to call somebody. I'm going through this and I'm going through that. And right now I don't feel like I want to do this. And sometimes they say I don't want to live. And I'm like, let me explain to you something. What you're thinking about is permanent. Your situation is so temporary. I've had people come in my chair and I've been mentoring and innocently mentoring, just service, and so they would sit in my chair, they come depressed, the husband may get on the nerve, the kids did this, the kids did that, whatever the situation is. And I'm like, well, I'm happy you came here, girl, when I'm finished with you. And at the end of the conversation, they thanked me because in my little humility, the humblest way possible, I didn't give them harsh advice. Oh, you need to do. No, that's the wrongest thing you could ever tell somebody. You need to do that. No, you could suggest, but don't tell someone what they need to do. Suggest, but then guide them. And sometimes I can't guide them. You know what I do? I said, this is unfamiliar territory to me. Can I ask, or can I offer to have you speak to so-and-so? I will talk to them first. And then, if you don't mind, I'm sure they can help you. Now, what you do with that information afterwards, it's on you. But I'm going to ensure, I live next door to a neighbor, and every day, her husband and her, like physical fights, verbally. And she would come over to me and I would sit down with her and I said, at this point I was single. I said, I've never been married, but I have somebody I would want you to talk to. I said, you mind? And she said, no. Now she talked to her for a little while, and after that, of course, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because we all have to make adjustments. And that's what mentoring is. If I want something bad enough, I have to be prepared to work hard enough. Bad enough and hard enough, because it's not about the thing, it's about the process to it. It's how the door. If I'm going to mentor you, that means I'm going to actually give you access to people I know. I'm going to hook you up, but I can't hook you up until I know
you see the development.
Yes, that the character, and that you are willing, and I know you're able. Because you might say, but I can't. Yes, you can. Just take off the apostrophe T and just use the can. Just stick with I can. You can do all things through Christ who gives you the strength. Not only that, there's power in your tongue. So if you keep saying I can't.
The subconscious mind capitalize on this and they give
it
back to you.
There you go.
Never do.
There you go.
Wow.
And so I was telling Veronique earlier too. Again, when you're looking for a mentor, think about this. Can the blind lead the blind? What happens?
They both will fall into the ditch. And Christ said it is not our word. Christ said it, and Christ is your creator.
There you go.
He knows everything. So when he says it,
believe it. It is the truth. His word will never return void. It's not like us. It's not like me. I might say to you, okay, well, I'll call you 6:00. And 6:00 comes and I'm like, oh my God, it's 6:30. I didn't call. The mere fact that I acknowledge it is 6:30, I didn't call. Either I need to get a message to you, apologize firstly, and say, I am so sorry. And that's what it is. It's a level of humility.
Yeah, and also
I'm making adjustments.
And when they say when the blind lead the blind, both will fall into this. The blind in this case, when we're talking about mentorship, it means that you go find someone who have no loving experience, who do not even understand the topic, or who is not really.
Yeah, they're in it for money.
They're just in for money. And so that is the blind, because he's not doing it, or her is not doing it, or she is not doing it out of the heart of
passion,
love, and wanted to see other person succeed in their side. So that is why you being blind, meaning, okay, you do not really understand what you're looking for. And the person you're trying to cause that person to help you is blind. So you both actually will not accomplish much.
Accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
Stress.
Because sometimes we feel, okay, blind, but that was spiritual. But everything actually, life is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. So, but you need to know how to apply every code of the Bible. I call every verse is a code. What code goes with what? Or keys, or what code goes with what? So that is
with key open which door.
Exactly. That's why he say, if a blind, lead a blind. So somebody who does not know, lead another one who does not know, where you end. There's confusion. There's confusion.
Yeah.
So as you said, mentorship gave access. You want to touch a little bit on access?
Yes. I was mentored by a gentleman by the name of Joel Dudley. And Mr. Dudley had a passion for people. He had a love for people, and he was patient. And I was sharing with her when he used to be in school, and he was considered a dunce. He was labeled mentally retarded. And so there was a lady in the school that he liked, and he actually loved her. But because he was so silly and playful, she never gave him a time of the day. And when he realized that he wanted her and she had the attention of all these other suitors, he went back to grade 1, literally went through all his books, and he worked his way up to being an A student to get her attention.
Wow.
And when he got her attention, they got married, they formed Dudley's University.
That is called determination.
Determination. Again, as a mentee, you need to be determined. And so as they grew their business, there was a program he had called a mentorship program. And it was $1,500 for a weekend with him and his team. At that time, I was telling Veronique I was at an all-time low. I had already accomplished much, but now I'm kicked out of my home. I lost my kids. I'm just low. And I'm working with this company, who's literally I'm a technician for the company. I'm a hairstylist and a technician because I need a product. I already gotten my bachelor's degree, second bachelor's through this company as well. Long and the short of it is, I didn't know where I was going to find that money, but I found that money. I went to that mentorship course. They picked you up in a limo. They drove you to the home. You pull up, they have someone open the door. So here it was exposing me to what it is to have this lifestyle. This is what I'm craving because I'm at an all-time low. I think at that time the landlord told me I had to get out as well because he said the building was sold and they wanted to take the rent 3 times the amount that I was paying.
Wow. So
I'm like, how do I get out of this? And when I got there, the program was one where he put us in the room. I was telling Barry, I got a beautiful home. It was a beautiful home. And each one of us had a room with a jacuzzi. I was exposed to that, but I had lost it. And he brought me back to what I could have. He aligned all of us. It was 5 of us. I was the only Bahamian.
He reactivated something.
He reactivated that belief system and passion. And so I was there and I sat down and we got up, the housekeeper, the breakfast laid out, and he met with each one of us one-on-one, and he asked me details of where I was. And see, let me tell you something. A lot of us don't get where we need to go because we hold on to things and we're embarrassed to share. See, and that's what happens, I don't want anybody to know. My husband slapped me. I don't want anybody to know. My kids are being so rude. I don't want anybody to know. You don't want anybody, because I'm going to be embarrassed. Honey, pride come before the fall. I was in an environment where I felt safe. So you got to find a safe zone now. I'm not telling you go on Facebook like I see people doing. Find a safe zone. Find some safety net. And I sat there and I bawled my eyes out, Bernie. I cried and I cried because I felt like I was such a disappointment. You know what he did to me? Put his hand on my shoulder. He said, "You're going to be all right. We're going to walk you through this. We are going to walk you through this." And every day, it was only there for the weekend, and that was a power pack weekend. And I was telling her how he owned a hair care company. And so he gave each one of us, it was 25 of us, he gave each one of us a kit. And he dropped us off in this place, Salem, North Carolina. And he told us we must go and be salesmen. I'm like, how is this? In the first door, I had an accent. That's why I endeavor to speak.
That is called go fish.
Go fish. I endeavor to dot my I's and cross my T's when I'm speaking to a public, because my personal accent, you may not understand me. So I even enrolled myself in Toastmasters at some point. I did every role because that's how I roll. I roll like that. If I'm going to do self-improvement, I'm going to find the things that I need to help me to get where I need to do. And so he dropped us off, and the first two doors I went to, they slammed the door in my face. I was like so embarrassed. And I said, "Okay, God, all right, I need you right now. I need you to tell me what I need to do."
It means that the first attempt may not work. The second attempt may not work, but don't stop there.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Go ahead.
And I knocked on the third door. What it meant was I needed to change my approach. I needed to change the way I was dealing with people. And then people sense intrepidation. They sense when you have a fear on you. They sense when you lack confidence. And they sense when you're weak. And when people think you're weak, listen, I was tiny in school. And when I realized people thought that I was a pushover, I went back to school one year and I was biggity. I was like, don't even try it. And that's how we have to navigate and assimilate, and we have to change our approach. And so the third door I knocked on, I said, "Lord, please, may the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Help me to say what I need to say when I get to this door." And I got to the door, and the lady, "Are you selling anything?" I said, "I am, but can we talk?" I said, I'm all the way from the Bahamas, and that intrigued her. The fact that I was from a whole different place, environment, and she wanted to know about the Bahamas. And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "If you don't mind," she welcomed me in the home, and we had 1 hour to sell whatever was in that kit. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Veronique, I had no other door shut in my face, but I walked back. When we got back, nobody said anything because you weren't allowed to discuss what your day was. But when we got back, we didn't know what to expect either. And when we got back, they said, "Okay, each one of us individually." And I listened attentively as everybody said, "Well, I didn't have such a good thing because this and this." Everybody complained more. They were more pessimist than optimist. And then as I told him, I said, my approach was first the door closed, and then I had to keep tweaking it. And I had to keep tweaking until I got them to buy in. And that's what it is. It's getting someone to buy in. No one has all the answers. No one is perfect. But at the end of that whole session, after I was introduced to people who were just like me, but now all multimillionaires, all who now are his mentors. They're mentored still by him, but now they're mentoring others. Because it was like a baton. He was passing the baton on. Passing the baton on.
That's what I call legacy.
Leg
and see.
Yeah.
Because you have
take this first leg.
You take this first leg and you see
Yeah.
And then you could not.
Yeah.
That's the word legacy.
Yes, that's it. And I won the competition. I was crowned. I was telling the queen I am. Yes. I was crowned, and as the person who, and in that moment, after I had all the things to say, I tell you, I was in the dumps. I was down in the dumps. I was in the gutter. He had me to speak to all his staff. He had a staff sales team of about 300 people, and they met 6 o'clock every morning. And that girl was there, pep time to get rallied up and ready to sell the product. And here I am. I'm gonna go speak to these people who are ready, probably drinking coffee like you, strong, and they're ready. They're ready to go. And I sat there. There was not a dry eye in the room. But when I said to them, when I come back, I will show you what God can do. And when I left from there, I bought properties. I took that information. See, you have to be willing to take the information too. And within 3 years, I had my own empire. And so again, the mentorship part at that stage was there. But who is to say, and who can dictate or prepare you for the next? So you don't never get caught up in that high now, because I was high. I was doing things, I was high, but I was never arrogant. But I was high. Mm-hmm. People were looking up to me and all of that. I never let it get to my head. But then, 10 years later, because don't remember now, things come in spurts. We're talking about seasons. Then the season came again where I was tinkering on bankruptcy. They didn't prepare me for that one. So now I need another mentor.
Exactly.
Because I'm teetering on bankruptcy, and I only can do what I can do. So here comes my sister who introduced me to the first church. And now she's telling me she's going to this next church. And she said, you have to come. I'm like, but I don't want to leave the church where I am now. But I wasn't growing either. Mm-hmm. They had taken me. I was stagnant. They had taken me. So I eventually, after I visited the church, and I was introduced to this man called Dr. Monroe. And I was like, this is it. This is it. This is it. And I'm the kind of person like this. My sister is very back of the stage. She's going to do the work. She's never going to go to Pastor Miles and shake his hand. I'm going to weave through. I go into Jesus. I'm going to find a way, because I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm so-and-so, and she brought me to the church, and I'm really... See, because what we forget too is people like Dr. Monroe, even though people around the world would be the ones to say all the positive things. Mm-hmm. No man is appreciated or respected in his own home.
That's true.
So a lot of people didn't do that for him in the home where I was. But I made sure I let him know I so appreciated that. I got so much from that message. And so when he offered the mentorship program, I don't care what anybody say. I was the first one who signed up. I don't know who else did, but I know in my mind, I was the first. I went to that desk. They didn't even have the application form over there. So they said, well, after the session, we'll have the form. I was the first one to that session. And I was sharing with her. I walked with him. I went in his airplane with him. I mean, I had to sit in the second row behind him and Pastor Ruth. This man...
Talk to us a little bit how the people who you introduced Dr. Morrow to, and then you went to North Carolina, and what did they just...
Yes, and
what Dr. Morrow...
Because of the influence I had, and he saw how dedicated I was to what he was doing. He invited me into his world, and anything I needed or wanted Pastor Monroe to do for me, he would say, daughter, he would clear his schedule to assist me. And he cleared his schedule. We had an event called Brown Brothers by the Sea. And I was the distributor and for the product called, and the stylist for a product called, anyway, a product. I won't say the product because I don't want to give away anything.
Advertising for the product.
Yes. So anyway, the product is pretty good. Yeah. But long and short of it, I brought him to the event, and while we were to the event, I introduced him, and they was like, you think you can get past Dr. Monroe to come to Greensboro to our company? No, it wasn't Dudley's. So I said, oh, yes, I can. I'm sure I can. So he cleared his calendar, and I said, because of the mentorship program, the way it was set up, you remember, we had different assignments.
Yeah.
And you had A, B, C. So I think they started with C, and then you go up to A.
Yeah.
And so I was on B. That's when I started to travel with him. And all he required from us was to assist with the gas for the plane. Yeah. Very minimal.
Yeah.
He didn't say, oh, well, I need it. No, you pay for your hotel, and that's it. And you pay for you assist with the gas. No, when you go on this plane, you only pay for the gas. You don't pay for a ticket.
But for us, we were in Europe, so that
we had to fly there. Yeah. But this when I was going on this plane with him to go. So I went on the airplane with him, and when I went to the same place, they picked me up from the airport because my visa had expired. So they picked me up from the airport, and so they took me to the aircraft to the place where Pastor Miles came in. And of course, we all greeted, we all left together. They took us to the hotel. We checked in. But the next morning, I'm in the lobby. I'm waiting for Pastor Miles to tell me, because I'm the kind of person, and she could tell you, if you and I are doing something, and I'm at home, and if she says we're going to be in here for 10 o'clock, I'm up from 7. So when she walks in her room, I'm already dressed, because that's me showing gratitude. That's me being the best version of me, because again, this is an opportunity as well. And so with Pastor Miles, I'm sitting in the lobby waiting on him to come. I get one of the people from the company come and pick me up. I said, well, Pastor Miles, are we going to come back for him? I said, you sure? I said, I'm supposed to be leaving with him, because he wants you to take the journey with him. Mm-hmm. To see
as a mentor,
as a mentee, how I can acclimate to that.
Yeah, so relationship between mentor and mentee,
and for me to see how important it is. Oh, this is what you want to do, Renne. This is how it's done.
Yeah.
So it's like in action. It's live and in action. They picked me up in the bus, and so I sat where I know Pastor Miles was going to sit with. There was 4 of us. And they moved me and told me to sit in the back, because this is for the guests. I'm like, I'm with them. I'm not here in the capacity of a distributor. I'm here as his mentee. He would want me to sit here. No. They moved me. And when Pastor Miles came, he was basically almost right to the podium. But when it was time for him, when he realized that I wasn't sitting in the front and they wanted to usher him off to take him for lunch, he's like, where's my mentee? Where's my mentee, Renne? Oh, she's over there. He said, no. We're not having lunch with her. Wherever I go, she's to be with me. She's my mentee. And they came back to me, I mean, with their tails between their legs. And Pastor Miles wants you to sit with him. And I was so, in my mind, I was angry, because that's what we do wrong. We isolate people from people who want to be or make a difference in their lives. And we have cliques, and then we say, you don't belong here. But we want people to listen to us, and we want people to buy my product. Mm-hmm. And then you say, you're not good enough. And that's the interpretation. I brought him there, and you put me in the back. And so I'm saying, if you have somebody who you assign yourself to, and all of a sudden you're in an environment and they don't want to include you, that's not an environment you need to be in. And eventually, and when I told Pastor Miles about what they did, he told me, he said, I'll never go to that company again.
Yeah, because also for his image.
Yes.
It was not good.
Yes.
And since he was somebody who loved people, and especially his mentee, he wanted to make sure that his mentee are exposed to the environment and what he goes through every day.
And he doesn't want me to be exposed to that.
And he didn't want you to be like a second guest or very far in the back and be looking, but just very close, just as Jesus walked with his disciples.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like I tell people, I remember when Jesus started to walk with his disciples, what they were doing. One was out fishing. One was a cusser. You understand? So what I'm saying is, they didn't come perfect. That's why you work with people. That's why, and the thing is with this particular company, when I tell you I built that company for the environments, I built, you know what he did too? He went around to find my what it was like, what type of reputation I had. And you know, he came back to me, he said, Renne, your reputation is solid. Everybody knows about you and they know about your work. But yet, now I'm in your presence, in your country, and you put me in the back. You say, you know, for the movie goes, nobody puts baby in the back, but you put me in the back because you didn't feel like I qualified. And see, we don't see, let me just share this with you. You don't need anybody to validate you. Nobody. If you know who you are, and why you were born, when the ship start to sail, and there's more than one ship that's going to sail, if that's not the ship you're supposed to be on, don't go on the ship. Not because, look at the Titanic, not because it's the first ship, it's beautiful. That may not be the ship you need to sail on. The same thing with mentorship. It is a ship.
It's a ship.
So the ship that you need to sail on is knowing that the person has integrity, they have good character, they're personable, they love people, and they are of authenticity. Yeah, authentic. Yes. So if you don't find it in somebody, keep looking, keep looking. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to have regrets. And as my relationship grew with Pastor Miles after we went to St. Paul's, and I really experienced it when we went to St. Paul's, Carolina. And I mean, those people opened the door. And let me tell you something, this man was so humble. He didn't look for this. This is what people want because he had something, he had this gift he was serving to the world. And that's what he said, your gift will make room for you. You know? I mean, he met with president and he said, do you want to do this? Do you want to be able to sit in an arena with public officials?
And mentorship actually just refines it.
It refines it. Yeah. But again, you cannot think that when you start getting promoted that you're better than the person who you helped or you're not, you know, and that's the mistake we all make. We feel like we have to, you know, I'm not on the same level as her or I'm better. No, you're not. My mother said everybody use the bath, and if you don't, something wrong. And if you don't take a bath, then we all will smell. So there are some things that we have to constantly think about when we are interacting with people on a regular basis. How do I want you to perceive me? What is it? What am I leaving behind? Did I say something? And again, you have to go back. Did I say something to offend? I mean, sometimes you go in a hostile environment and you really want to say something. I was just listening to Pastor Miles, one of his CDs on Facebook, and he says, I know people say things you want to respond. He said the best way to deal with a matter or situation is to be quiet. Say nothing. Say nothing. Just say nothing. Just be. And that again is a part of mentorship. You don't need to respond. I know me. I had a time when I feel like I had to say something to you. I just feel like I had to correct. Let me tell you something. And I do it still sometimes. So he's still working on me.
Human nature.
It's a human nature, but we have to die and kill the flesh daily. We have to kill the flesh daily, and we have to always seek. And that's another thing. If you don't seek information, you won't find it. And so become a reader. Become somebody who constantly reads the word. Become somebody who literally, if you don't understand, Veronique, I just read this. What's your interpretation? Maybe I'm interpreting it, but it's not resonating with me.
A leader is a reader, and leaders share information, and then they get to discuss about it. And as they discuss about it, they now get new information or new revelation.
That's it. And then I was telling you earlier that there are seasons too. When my season a lot came and I ended up in bankruptcy, I couldn't figure out how I got there. And I had to find another mentor because now the mentor that I had, and then I had to go back to in some of his reading, and you have to rebuild your faith. And I had to start rebuild because too, now that I'm married, there are some things that we do differently. And so let's say, for instance, I would tell my husband, oh, let's well, we need to start the savings for this, for our travel. He may say, oh, no, not right now because we don't have the money. And then I say, do you know who our Father is? Do you know who he is? I said, and do you know who owns this world? I say,
you reign at his feet.
Yes. And so I have to say and keep reiterating. And when I say it, I'm saying it to me too. But that's what my mentor showed me. And so I'm not trying to compete with him, but I want to be the best version of me. I want to have used that information that he shared with me and imparted with me and still left behind. I want to still be able to seek that out when I'm at a point where I feel like there's nowhere to turn. So for me, I don't allow myself to stay stuck in a season.
Yeah. So what would you leave to our audience today, Ambassador Miller, as a final remark about this topic, mentorship and the advantage of mentorship? You just discussed the advantage of mentorship, and the also discussed one layer that we need different mentor, because you can only have one mentor throughout the year. So you could have one mentor for this one mentor for that, depending of what you're seeking or depending of the field that you want to engage in at a certain level or at a certain age of your at a certain level of your age. So now that being said, what would you, let's say someone say, I'm maybe very lost, or I don't really know where to find the mentors and how to go about. As a final remark, what would you admonish to somebody saying something like that now? Well, as we're about to wrap up the show.
Mentorship isn't a want, it's a need. Okay, it's a need. And what I would admonish anybody under the sound of my voice, it's a tool, it's a resource. It's, again, finding somebody that you can have, or you can invest, because this is an investment for you. When you find out, because remember, we have difficulties figuring who we are. It's not what you have. Who are you? Do you know who you are? Have somebody help you to define who you are. Read, ask, seek, knock. If you don't ask for help, it won't come. If you don't seek the help,
you won't find.
And if you don't knock,
the
door will remain closed. So do away with the pride, the ego, the arrogance. Do away with all of that. And understand that the season will come when there will be lack. There'll be a season of plenty, and there'll be a season when there's nothing happening. How do you operate in those seasons? Do you have the tools in those seasons? Have you aligned yourself that you have a resource center, a mentor that you can go and use the resources to help you to navigate those tumultuous times? Or do you think because you have all this money and all of this freedom and everything you ever need in life, that's going to be forever? So I would encourage you to continue to enhance yourself. Get to know who you are, but also if someone has a resource or something you need, seek them out so that you can be the best version of yourself.
Wow, what a good way to end the show. Be the best version of yourself. And I want to thank you very much for sharing those nuggets today, Ambassador Miller, to all our audience. And on behalf of Mamlakak Broadcast Network, we want to say thank you and thank you again for coming right here in our local studio in Dallas, Texas. And I know this is not going to be the last time. We're going to come back again. We're going to have more shows together. So that being said, that is going to mark today our show. We don't have more for you. If you really want to have more, please follow us on our various platforms. And you could also share this broadcast with all. Don't be only a reservoir, but be a river. Share it and share it. Like us and share. Follow us on our various platforms that is pop up on the screen now. You could follow us on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, on BitChute, on Instagram, on Telegram. We are on Reddit, we are on Odyssey, we are on Public. We are almost every platform that you could name, social media platform that you could name. We are in it. We are even on True Social. So you could, if you say, okay, I don't like Facebook, okay, just go to the one that you're most familiar with. This is what really it's all about, living legacy. Meaning, we receive and we not keep it. And now you'll be empowered and you'll be energized. You'll be kind of, okay, yes, I am going to go out and I am going to do it just as I heard. And not just for me, but I'm also going to find somebody else and I'm going to mentor. Share. And this is what it's all about. So on behalf of Mamlakak Broadcast Network, thank you. And how we say again, we have to wave our salute to all of you. We're waiting our salute and see you next time when we come back again around. Thank you again for watching.
Thank you.